wondering what it truly takes to excel at prospecting in today's competitive market? We'll address this big question. Hi, I'm Kiran Maistry. Welcome to another episode of Future of Our People, where we explore the dynamic interplay of innovation, technology, and human elements in business. Today, we have a special guest who is at the forefront of transforming how businesses approach prospecting and customer engagement. Joining us is Mr. Preetham, who is the co-founder of Kipplo, a company that is revolutionizing the way businesses identify and connect with their potential customers using cutting-edge technology. Preetham, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you for inviting for your show. I'm really happy to be part of your show. And I'm looking forward to share my journey and experience with you. Thank you.
It's great honor to have you with us, and I'm sure our viewers would learn, because one of the topic that we're going to address is around the prospecting, which has always been one of my favorite topic. Coming from around 15 years of sales experience, prospecting is a critical component of any business growth strategy. And you being a co-founder and the CEO of Kipplo, a company that is revolutionizing the way businesses identify and connect with potential customers, is something we are excited to learn more about in terms of the problems that you're addressing and how our viewers can benefit. And also we wanted to understand more about your entrepreneurial journey, because you've been in this journey for more than a decade. So we wanted to understand what success criteria and advise you would do, right? What prompted you and your founder to start this company Kipplo, and what core problem you're aiming to solve in this market today?
Sure. So before I could start my entrepreneurial journey, I was a sales rep. And one thing I noticed is, if you are a part of a sales team, I think every sales team needs quality data. And to start with, I started as a marketer, basically, where I was running campaigns, to my prospects. And we used to rely, third-party companies, to buy the data. So one thing I noticed is, the quality of the data, what we are getting from vendors was not up to the mark. And also I realized, at some point, I think every company, doesn't matter, which size they are in, they need data for their campaigns as well as for their ABM strategies. This is where this idea came that I think we should get into a marketing data business. And I had my colleague and also he was my friend, Verghese Thomas. We decided we'll start a business in data field. So that's how we started our journey, and we started in 2011. And it was good for us, since we are a service company. We were making profit in the first 6 months alone. We started as a profitable company. So first few years, it was really good, going well. But as you know, when you are in service industry, it is always a challenge, to grow to a next level, right? Because when you are a service company, you are depending more on humans. So growing at a faster pace would be a challenge when you're in service industry. So that's where we decided, I think we should get into a product. So we started working on our product, and I think we launched our product very recently, probably a month back. That's how my journey started along with my partner 13 years back.
So we want to know more about this new product. Can you share us about your product? What exactly do you do? And going back, right, what problem this product is solving in today's market?
Sure. See, we provide marketing data solutions to business companies. We provide data that is required for every sales and marketing department for their sales and marketing efforts, like maybe for lead generation. Let's say if they're running any surveys or campaigns, they need this data. So we provide this real-time accurate data as per client's requirement. As I said, this data our clients are using mainly for their outbound marketing efforts.
Okay. So this is interesting. And in fact, this is interesting for me, because I always believe prospecting is a critical component of any business growth strategy. And in fact, I was reading one of the article and the data point that came out that kind of stood out for me is from HubSpot, right? They said 42% of salespeople say prospecting is the most challenging part of the sales process. And in fact, and Insider Sales Data.com, it says that, salespeople almost spend 90 minutes of their quality time each day just to search and gather data. And it shows that, there is a substantial investment of time is required when it comes to effective prospecting. So it clearly, what it sounds like, what you provide when it comes to B2B, right? It's the database that you provide for businesses to address their productivity issues, right? And also their business to accelerate quicker. So could you please talk me about the data quality? As you rightly pointed when you started, right? The quality is always a challenge. How do you ensure that your data is up to the speed and it is in line with the business's expectations?
Sure. See, in B2B space, the domain is very dynamic. The reason being, the data, become obsolete, very often. As per our studies, we have seen every month at least 5% of the data, go obsolete. This is what we have noticed. So it's not about carrying the mass data. It's also about managing and maintaining this data on a regular basis. This is where a lot of efforts goes in. So we have a pretty strong team where we update these records on a periodic basis. Example, when it comes to contact data, we maintain or update this information once in 3 months. And when it comes to company data, we update this information once in a year. So there's a tedious process in terms of managing this data. That's where a lot of our resource money we spend today to manage this data. Yes.
Okay, great. Is there any specific example that you would like to share, Preetham, in terms of how your data, right? Data is power, right?
Yes.
Powerful conversations, and also leads to productivity as well, right? In a way, because in this case, the power that salespeople have is the quality data they have, and it also leads them to be more productive, especially in their account-based strategy. Can you talk me through a certain example where you help business when it comes to productivity or in terms of return on investment they got by having access to your intelligence that you provide?
Yes. See, the data what we provide, as I said, we work on really improving the quality of the data. So the data whatever our clients are getting, again, they don't have to sit and cleanse on that data. This data is readily available to them, and they can use this data for their campaign. So already the data whatever clients are getting already curated, already updated, and they can expect better ROI the moment they run the campaigns.
Okay. So is this data just based out of India or is it global at this moment?
See, for Kipplo right now, we have introduced data for India market. So in the first phase of a product that we launched last month, where we are giving basic information like the persons, the decision makers, cell numbers, or it could be their work email, or it could be their secondary email. In the second phase of a product, we are working where our clients can apply the filters based on their target criteria. When I say target criteria, what I meant is example, each company will have their own target audience, right? So and they want to filter their target audience based on filters like job title, or it could be industry, or it could be based on revenue or employee size. Or I've seen some companies apply filters based on technology as well, and also the last filter would be based on geography. So in the second phase we'll have a full-fledged platform where customers can apply the filters based on their target audience, and they can narrow down the list based on their target criteria. So in the third phase we are also planning to introduce intent data, where depending on the interest of the customers, they can narrow down the intent of the data.
And I think that would be very interesting to many
Yes.
businesses, including me,
Yes.
because one of the biggest challenge, in fact, one of the research reports says that, right, 40% salespeople say they get a response from prospects. Getting a response from prospect is challenging, right? And that's what they get fatigue, prospecting fatigue, because they're not getting any response from prospects. They stop
Right.
doing prospecting, and that is where the lead generation it's not effective, right? So
Right.
it's great when you have that kind of a data intelligence based on intent. It can help salespeople to be more effective in terms of their approach. So
Right.
they get more conversion, right? When you send an email or when you follow up based on the intelligence. I mean, for me, I always say that LinkedIn is a great intelligence platform, right? It's a great platform just to get an idea and knowledge in terms of who they are, what is their past history, what kind of groups they are interested in. If you could incorporate this kind of intelligence along with an ability for businesses to identify in a sea of potential customers, right? How do you know these are the right people? So you need to send mass email at some point. So having that intelligence would certainly help. I'm quite excited about your the new launches that are coming as well. So in terms of measuring and reporting, Preetham, in terms
Right.
of how do you help business measure and analyze their prospecting success?
See, I think it depends on the quality of data you provide, right? And also when it comes to measuring, I think it depends on how customers are using the data what we provide. Suppose if we are giving the data, it doesn't mean customer can get 1000% ROI out of it. And also it depends on customer how they're going to use that data once they get this data. So I think our job probably ends the moment we provide the accurate data. But what customers have to do is when they are using this data, let's say if they're using this data for their outbound campaigns, what they have to do is they have to keep in mind they have to send a right message when they're running any campaign, and also how their sales reps are using this data effectively. Even that also matters. How they can do is obviously they need to have a proper strategy in place whenever they are reaching out to their prospects by using our data. So I think it's 50-50, I would say. Our job is definitely to provide accurate data, but at the same time customers have to use this data effectively with the right message whenever they are reaching out to their target.
Okay, that's great to hear. So your buck stops as soon as you provide the quality data. So the key is for you to focus more on the quality of the data that you're providing based on whatever the needs of the customers are, and it's up
Yes.
to the customer to use the right strategy in order to be effective in their approach when to their customers, right? So let's talk about your entrepreneurial journey. 10 to 13 years. What did you learn from your entrepreneurial journey? And what advice you would give to anyone who is embarking on their entrepreneurial journey?
See, for me, the entrepreneurial journey was really great. I think every entrepreneur will enjoy, the process, especially in the first few years. I believe this is my experience, and I would say, when I started my career, especially as a service company, I think most of the entrepreneurs will succeed, when they're starting, service business, because you are, mainly, you'll be investing on human resource, not on any product or infrastructure, right? So it is easy to start as a service company, probably not at this time, because today, it is very expensive to even hire, human, resource as well. But those days, yes, it was probably, I would say, quite easy to start the business. And as I said, we were profitable, in the first month itself. But the real challenge started, when we wanted to scale up the business. So this is where the real challenge, started for us. And at some point we realized if we really have to grow exponentially, we need to have a product, in place, right? So this is where we started investing all our money back on the product whatever we started developing a couple of years back. Yes, the initial years was good for us, but the real challenge starts when you really want to scale up the business. And that's a beauty of the entrepreneur journey, right? Now let's say, as I said, if you're a service company, it is easy to start, and probably difficult to scale up the business, and vice versa. If you're a product company, it is difficult to start, I would say. In the first few years, it is really challenging. You'll end up burning the money. But probably once you let's say stay in the market, let's say for 2-3 years, then probably the growth will be fast, at faster pace. So this is my take about entrepreneurial journey.
That's a great point you made, Preetham. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's a great opportunity for entrepreneurs to think themselves where they wanted to position, right? If your strength is in services, yes, stick to it, but think about how do you want to scale it,
Right.
or building a team around you where you can expand your services to the more audience. Or if you're passionate about developing a product, or you have a combination of both product and service. And I think that's a great part. I'm in a journey, I'm in the same mindset, right, where I need to take my company. And what you made, the points that you referred, definitely make sense to me as well. So in terms of, I always ask this question to any successful leader, right, because they should always have a personal habit of practice that makes them being effective in what they do. So is there any personal habit or practice that you diligently followed all your life that has shaped you, who you are and what you are today?
Yes. See, one important character I think every leader should have is self-discipline. I think this is this plays a very important role in every leader, I believe. This has played a very important role in my life as well. And second thing is learning. I think, see, today I have around 20 years of experience overall per se. But if a new person joins my company, right, doesn't matter, let's say if that person might be a fresher, I try to learn new things from that individual, right? So I always believe in one thing. I think you should be like a student in your life. Means you should be open to learn new things at any stage of your life. I think these are the two things I think every leader should possess.
So self-discipline and open to learning.
Yes.
And it goes to the fact, right? You made an interesting point about scaling up. As you scale, you hire more people, right? You're
Right.
reviving, you are adding value to the economy as well, right?
Right.
You're hiring more people, that is boosting your local community in terms of economic standpoint as well. And also managing those people also is another art, right? That if you want to scale more, you build people, and these are the people who build the businesses. So
Right.
on that note, were there any particular challenges that you faced when it comes to managing people and the team leadership? Because this is one common challenge I speak to every leader. They say that's always a challenge, right? Because when you're around 10 people, 15 people, it's easier to manage. You start like a family, right? As soon as you scale to 30, 40 or 50 or 100 to 150, right? Then it becomes challenging because there's too many ways of thinking and acting and where the business is going. Does that resonate with you as well?
Yes, I think every entrepreneur will go through this journey, I believe. See, when we started along with my co-founder, we were doing all the work, right? From sales, marketing, operations, we were doing it, right? But when we started growing, you have to delegate this work to others. And also, you should start working on creating more second level leaders, in your organization. And same thing I tell to my second level leaders. Now your job is to create more leaders in the third layer, right? So this is the only way I think we can grow as organization at faster pace. So creating more leaders important. And one of the biggest challenge we faced is as we were a bootstrapped company, right? Obviously we were tight on budget as well. So probably recruiting students or people from top institution will be a challenge because you're always tight on budget, right? So for us, like how we managed is whatever resources we had, we picked the right guy from them, and we trained that person to become a leader. So this is what we have done in our organization. So right now we have a good second level leaders, in our company, and right now they are already started creating, the next level of leaders in the organization.
No, that's great to know as well, right? Where you create more leaders, and in turn, your team, right, creates more leaders. That's the way. That's the way people are all aligned to the direction that you wanted
If
to
you
go.
don't create a leader, you'll end up doing all the work, by yourself. So this will impact, your productivity. Probably, you may not focus on, all the job at a time. So I think you should be doing what you're good at, and you should delegate your work to, to the right people.
Yeah, and I think you're absolutely right. The number one challenge many business owners often say to me, Preetham, is I want back more time. I don't want to end up doing everything myself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I worked all the way to set up this business to flourish, but still I end up doing more. So finally, if somebody is apply for a role in your company, right? What is that you look for? What kind of skills or traits that you look for?
To be honest, I think first thing I notice is, the positive attitude of a person, right? So this is what, the first criterion I tell all my leaders also. First thing you should notice is, is his or her attitude, right? The reason I'm saying this, example, I do have people, let's say, in sales, who have come from, engineering background, right? So, and I've seen these guys have done well, right? It doesn't matter like, which background they're coming from. They can probably, do excellent, in whatever they're doing, as long as they have the positive attitude. And same thing, recently, and I've seen, we have hired somebody, to a software engineer role, but that guy has come from, biotechnology background, but his passion was, he wanted to get into, software engineer field. So we see, how passionate they are, how positive they are, or how, good they are, in whatever they are doing. So based on that, we hire. We really don't see their CV, like what kind of experience they have, most of the times. The reason also because most of the times, we are hiring freshers or, guys with, 3 to 5 years of experience. So you really don't have to see their CV, I think, and see, and based on that, you take, hire. I think you should see their attitude and how passionate they are, I think based on that, we try to hire.
So passion plays a critical
Yes.
role. And it's an interesting point you mentioned, Preetham, because many students, right, they realize after they get into the course, right, this is not right for them, or this is not where their passion truly lies. And it doesn't surprise me where after completion of their degree, they choose to go for a different career paths, because they soon realize that, okay, this is what I want to do. And when I started my career, people often wanted to go into sales because that's where the glamour. Sales was a glamour because you get to make more money, and you get all those glamorous things. You always see the positive, grass is greener on the other side, but it also comes with their own set of challenges. So it doesn't surprise me when you made a point, right? People, you are kind of interviewing people from diverse background or diverse backgrounds, because they realize their passion is something else to what they have learned. So thank you for that. So positivity and the passion plays a critical role. And so what are your future aspirations, Preetham, in terms of where do you like to see yourself and your business in the next 5 years?
See, we in terms of business, we want to be one of the top players, in the global market. Today, we are new to the Indian market, and but in the last 1 month, I myself have taken a lot of demos. I've given demos to a client. So probably, I understood one thing. There's a lot of demand, in the Indian market itself, right? And also, we are parallelly working on incorporating global data, in our platform. So in another 5 years, we want to be one of the top players, in the global market.
And I think that would be interesting, and especially with the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, with the intent that you're building up, right?
Right.
Because the data is the fuel, and I really wish you and your business a huge success. And thank you, Preetham, for sharing your insights. Going back to in terms of addressing the prospecting problem. There is a clear reason why you started your business, right? You identify there is a problem, and that's where you started B2B data marketing company and helping businesses to accelerate their growth. And thanks for sharing your entrepreneurial journey in terms of right, in terms of what you've learned and what you look for when you're recruiting for people as well. These were very valuable insights. Once again, wish you and your company a tremendous success, and we shall certainly be in touch.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Kiran. Thanks a lot for your time.